So the debate in the early days is between pragmatists, those who had been in the first Gulf War, those who understood that if you went into Baghdad and overthrew Saddam Hussein, you were still going to have to administer and govern Baghdad. I think it was Colin Powell said, if we break it, we own it. And on the other side, you had the ideologues. And if you go and you look up Google Project for the New American Century, that was their doctrinal statement for the neoconservative movement on how we should act. And it states very clearly in there that their ambition to create out of the United States an empire to replace the republic. And that we should have soldiers all across the world, which we now do. If you watch a football game, every football game that you watch talks about this is being beamed to American soldiers in 171 countries. What the heck do we have American soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines doing in 171 countries across the world? We must be suffering from ADD to have to go that far afield in the way that we approach international diplomacy, national security, and foreign policy. Read it. It says very clearly that this ambitious program will lack the political will unless there is a cataclysmic event such as Pearl Harbor. So when 9/11 happened, these guys got the upper hand in foreign policy making circles. They were very close to and surrounded Dick Cheney. They were very close to and surrounded George Bush. But mostly it came out of Cheney and through Cheney back to the Defense Department and to people like John Bolton in the State Department, pushing this very, very aggressive and militaristic set of policies, which again shifted from Afghanistan very quickly to Iraq. Seeing this on the horizon, a number of us wrote articles in 2002, the summer of 2002. The first one was Brent Scowcroft's article, arguing that if we went to war in the Middle East, that the consequences might be nuclear, in that there might be a nuclear weapon used sometime during this war. I'm not sure why he emphasized that part of it, but he did. The second article was written by Jim Baker, and he and Dick Holbrook wrote the similar articles about the same time, arguing that yes, we should get rid of Saddam Hussein, but the only way that we can do it is to go through the United Nations. Now, the problem with the logic of their arguments, in addition to being pretty mealy-mouthed, is that they knew that you could never get such a resolution out of the United Nations. So there was there was something to underpin the argument. And then I wrote an article in which I argued the case that Saddam Hussein is really a bad guy, and there's very few people who have greater reason to dislike him, certainly very few foreigners, than me, because I had put up with him during the first Gulf War. So I was not writing as an apologist for Saddam Hussein. I made that very clear. I was writing asking my government to prove to me that the threat that Saddam Hussein posed was indeed existential, and indeed was worthy of a military action above and beyond what we were already doing, which was sanctions and no-fly zones. And I kept making that argument all the way through, because you just don't go to war based on whim, or based on the idea that we'll bomb Iraq because there's stuff to bomb there. There's nothing to bomb in Afghanistan. Show me, basically. And I said that then, and I say that now, because at the end of the day, government is acting in our name. So when my government sends my fellow citizens out to kill foreigners, or to die at the hands of foreign troops or foreign terrorists in their country, then I deserve to know precisely why it is we're doing this. Why are you sending my fellow citizens out to kill and die in my name? The government understood that, and so they put together their case. And their case was basically based on three things. One, that Saddam Hussein had ties to Al-Qaeda. which was very quickly disproved. And I think the only person now who still believes that one of the Al-Qaeda guys met in Prague with an Iraqi is Dick Cheney. I don't think there's anybody else in the country who still believes that. The second reason was that Saddam Hussein was actively involved in WMD programs, and that was an existential threat. Now, the only WMD, and I'll get back to this in a minute, the only WMD that is truly of strategic importance is a nuclear weapons program. But I'll come back to that. And the third reason was this idea that somehow we could project American military power into Iraq and create a democracy. Militaries don't do democracy. They don't do democracy in our country. They don't do democracy in their system, in their culture. Why would we think that they have core skills? Which of those core skills are shooting and killing. Those core skills are not coalition building in the political and democratic sense of it. And any of you who have ever been in Peace Corps or ever served overseas in that capacity will understand that the democratization process, and I've been doing democratization a good part of my adult life. I have lived in a lot of dictatorships. These hands have shaken hands with a lot of people who have blood on their hands. And I'm here to tell you that democratization, the process of building a civil society in which there is active participation, free participation, transparent participation, free and fair elections, and transition from one power to another power, that takes a while to build. And just because we managed to do it and keep it going for 230 years doesn't mean that other cultures are going to adapt the same way of adjudicating their differences as we have. And indeed, different cultures have different ways of doing it. And when I was ambassador and we were doing democratization, I found, and I've shared this with my peers, that at the end of the day, if you talk about democracy, because you're an American, you're always talking about democracy. And that is seen by those people who are listening to you as pejorative. Oh, they're just trying to impose on us their system. They want a House of Representatives, they want a Senate, they want gerrymandering of the districts, they want pay for play, they want all that. We don't want that in our system. But on the other hand, if you remind your interlocutors that as members of the United Nations, they are also signatories to the UN Human Rights Convention, then that convention actually lays out certain principles of freedom of citizens in a society. But it doesn't look American. It doesn't have John Boehner at the masthead. It doesn't have Harry Reid on the masthead. It has principles to which every signatory, every member of the United Nations has signed up to. So I found that if you hold countries to account for things that they have signed, that you get a much better hearing, and that you get a much better result. And in actual fact, if you look at Africa, where I spent a good part of my career today, you'll see the countries that were dictators when I was there, countries that were just putting into place national assemblies and elections. Now, 20 years later, it's been 20 years since I was ambassador. You have, in a place like Gabon, you have a very active national assembly. You have a very rich political culture. So the transitions have happened. They're not perfect. The son of the former president is now the president, but he's in a much more difficult political position than his father ever was. And he's got to deal with a real vibrant opposition. You do it brick by brick, village by village. And again, anybody who's been in Peace Corps and lived out in a village will understand the process of building in principles and traditions that allow people to adjudicate social issues without violence or without one group totally dominating another group.